Today was supposed to be a rest day, and now it's a leg day. So it's Monday, and obviously normally I don't train Monday ever, at the moment at least. But I've been thinking lately I want to step it up a notch and train 4 days a week again. I'm feeling good, and to tell you the truth, I only want to train one body part per day, and so I figured why not trial out a bro split, which I haven't done for quite some time. Basically like a chest day, a back day, a leg day, and an arm day, and then just obviously throw calves and shoulders on whichever day I feel like training them. But still aim for kind of like a target of 2 to 3 times a week for shoulders and calves, because I just find that works out better in terms of development. But what got me thinking about this is the more I look into the literature, the less relevant training frequency is in terms of optimizing hypertrophy. It's more about, I guess you could say, fatigue management, ensuring that there's progressive overload, there's mechanical tension present in the training, and then that you're getting sufficient volume at the end of the week for each given muscle group. So whether that's distributed over multiple sessions or just all hit in one session, it doesn't really seem to matter. That's what the data is pointing towards. And I mean, you can also look at the anecdotal findings. There's plenty of bodybuilders, drug-free and assisted, that train bro splits where they do everything once a week and they grow perfectly fine. Plus, I've never been one to kind of just go off of what the literature says, because there's a lot of holes in studies and people don't really, I don't think people really grasp how to comprehend that. Like, there's a lot of merit in N=1 findings or N=1 research, kind of like self-experimentation, that sort of thing, if you ever want to put it in that kind of a frame. So yeah, got me thinking I might experiment with a bro split where I hit everything once a week. So just like a 4-day split, one's chest, one's back, one's legs, one's arms. I could even kind of go full bro and do like a shoulder arm day as like one day, so I'm only hitting shoulders once a week. But I think what I'm going to do is just split shoulders up into 3 different components. So on my chest day, do a bit of front delt work. On my back day, do a bit of side and rear delt, or even on my chest day, do a bit of front and side delt, and then on my back day, do a bit of rear delt. But that's what I'm leaning towards, guys. So yeah. But my last session that I uploaded was obviously the back session. So how did I come to arise to the conclusion to train legs today instead of, say, chest like I normally do? Well, I did a little bit of chest yesterday on my rest day. Not a lot, but still it was 2 to 3 decent sets. And it's going to take more than a day to recover. And I'm only just starting to feel a little bit DOMS today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to establish the training week as kind of legs as the first session of the week. Legs on Monday. Tuesday will be, honestly, if I want to be strategic about it, it should be back, because I did train a little bit of chest on Sunday. So it'll either be chest or back tomorrow. So legs Monday, either chest or back Tuesday. Then whichever one of those that I didn't do on Thursday. And then on Friday will be the arms day. So that's how I'm thinking of approaching things. But we'll see. I'll do legs today and I'll see how I feel. Back to my original point though, what I was saying about training frequency is you've basically got 3 levers you can pull when it comes to programming. And I'd argue to say that frequency isn't even really a lever when you boil it down to the bare essentials. But you've got volume, intensity, relative intensity, that is, which is basically effort, and then you've got frequency. Now you can think of training effort or training relative intensity, like how hard you train, how close to failure you're going, that sort of thing, and total weekly volume as kind of like the big hitters in this kind of scenario. And then frequency is kind of like a mediator. Like it allows you to kind of, it's a means by which you can kind of, I guess, plan, periodize and distribute your training volume throughout the week. So it's not really like a variable in itself, but rather a regulator of the two variables in training, which is effort and work done or volume. So if you do, say, chest, you train chest once a week, or you train chest twice a week, like the total amount of volume that you can kind of handle or recover from might vary a little bit. Like if you're doing twice a week, you might be able to handle a little bit more volume, but for the most part, it doesn't really change that much in terms of like maximizing growth. You can maximize growth pretty much effectively with like once a week or twice a week frequency. It isn't as kind of black and white as that, but if you're to kind of just boil it down to the bare bones, like I said, it pretty much does come down to how hard you're training and how well you're recovering from said hard training, and are you doing enough and not too little or too much. Training more frequently, you'll be able to do more total weekly volume but less per session. Training less frequency, you'll be able to do more total training volume in a single session but less total weekly training volume. So frequency allows you to kind of, I guess, take advantage of and exploit the ability to do more volume than you otherwise would be able to do if you're just training once a week. So that's basically what I'm saying. But you can still, for lack of a better word, maximize muscle growth, I think, training everything once a week. But I'd argue there's also a skill acquisition component. And if you're a beginner, if you're doing certain movements, it might be a little bit more advantageous to do a slightly higher frequency. And the reason I say that is when you're new to lifting, the ability to progress in strength is quite dramatic. Like you can progress quite frequently and to quite a large degree, session to session, not even like week to week, but session to session on certain lifts. So like doing things or training each body part, training exercises more often is going to lead to better results most of the time for beginners, because you have such a large disparity between where your strength is right now and where it is going to be eventually in the end. Like your maximum potential for strength versus where your strength is when you start, there's a large kind of discrepancy there. Whereas when you're more experienced, that gap closes and you become a lot more efficient neuromuscularly speaking. Like you're a lot more efficient. You're able to move and recruit more motor units, more total muscle fibers to actually do what you're trying to do. And so you need to keep that in mind and take that into account. So I think as you get more experience, like me, for example, I've been lifting for over 10 years. Like you get to a point where you're so efficient that you can literally think about what muscle you're trying to isolate in a multi-joint compound movement and feel and load that muscle more effectively, whereas somebody who's new doesn't have the proprioceptive awareness or skill to be able to do that. So we can get, like, as you're experienced, or when you're more experienced, you can get a lot more out of a lot less, not only in a single session but across an entire week. If you're to say train a muscle once a week as an experienced person, I think the degree to which you can take that set and the level of precision to which you can take that set is a lot greater than a beginner. So I think a bro split wouldn't work too well for a beginner. I mean, anything works well when you're an absolute beginner. Like, you throw anything at the wall and it'll stick. Once you get past that novice stage and you're kind of like an intermediate, that's where you have to have more frequency, I think. Be a bit more frequent with training movements, muscle groups, body parts, and doing those bigger compound movements where you can gain a lot of your base strength once you've gained a lot of that base strength, I find it's more so somewhat deleterious and potentially dangerous to do a lot of those bigger movements that got you a lot of those results in the first place, because the amount of load that you need to use in order to get the stimulus required can get kind of dangerous. So there's a lot of ways you can cut this. Like, there's a lot of ways you can cut this cake and talk about it. But long story short, I'm just trying to explain why I'm trying what I'm trying. Like, I came from a powerlifting background. I can deadlift 350 kilo. I can bench press just shy of 200 kilo. I could. This is when I was at 220 pounds body weight or 100 kilo body weight. So all my lifts were between like 400 pound and 800 pound at 220 pound body weight. And that was when I didn't even train for bodybuilding. I've since gained a lot of muscle, obviously not right now because I deliberately downsized recently for obvious reasons with the heart failure and everything, but I gained a lot of size since that base level strength. So if I were to do those movements again, I'd tear my shit up. Anyway, I'm going to drink this, go in there, do legs. It'll be lying hamstring curl, pendulum squat probably, leg press, a single leg press. From there I'll go upstairs and I'll use my favourite leg extension, the adduction machine, and maybe some glute extensions if I got time, but the gym's really busy tonight, so we'll see how it goes. Alright, time to do a quick warm-up set. Already have a good idea of what weight I'll be going on because I did do this as the first exercise in my last leg session, but I feel at 46, and if that feels really good, then I might go, say, 88 instead of 81. But if not, I'll just stick to 81. I think I might go 88. Okay. I'm going to do a fourth set. I've been neglecting hamstrings lately, and that is unacceptable. Have to get some good music for this. when it is meant to be a rest day and it's a leg day. Squats, pendulums, everything are always twice as hard. One thing I really like about this machine is I don't need to load this up much at all. I mean, 2 plates on this pendulum feels like 6 or 5 on the Gym 80 pendulum. Really close to 4 or 5 actually on the Gym 80 pendulum. What I think I might do in today's session, because it has only been 5 days and not 7 since my last leg session, is go a little bit lighter and feel the sets out a little bit more. So 12 to 20 reps instead of 8 to 12. Because last week I did do 4 plates per side, but I was aiming more around that 10 rep mark. So high reps, a little bit more, I guess you could say, metabolite focus. So probably went a little bit harder on those pendulums than I should have. So I want to be a little bit more mindful of how much, I suppose, load I'm using on this next kind of big compound leg movement. Spotify's playing. Oh, here we go. Now it's working. Always forget this thing. Let's get some music going. Just had a look at last week's session and actually fell a rep short of what I got last week, but I also did hit I guess you could say a volume PB on those first two exercises, even though the weight was different for the single leg press to last week was a bit lighter. Sets times reps times load, I did more volume. And so I guess in a way it's understandable that I lost a rep on this. And also my technique's probably a little bit better this week than it was last week. The tempo was a little bit quicker, so I'd account between that and the additional fatigue going into this movement. That's the reason why I kind of fell one rep short. last week it was the full stack for, let's have a quick look, 10 reps. So if I can do anywhere between 10 and 15 reps, I'll be really happy. If I can only do 10, I'll still be happy. If I can't do 10, I'm going to drop the weight down, because clearly I'm quite fatigued if that's the case. If I can't match last week's performance. That's kind of the benchmark I use, honestly, to auto-regulate how much load I use in an exercise. If I'm not able, can't even speak right now, not able to match my previous best, then I'll just scale the weight back a little bit and make note that I did that week, so I'm aware of it. Look at that, rep PB. I think it was 12 or 13. I'll have to watch the video back and check, but I'm pretty certain there was at least 12, so. Okay, so it was what I thought. It was a rep PB. Gives me a bit of confidence going into this set. Okay. Not bad indeed. Okay.